Today we're going to do a little Q&A because we haven't done one in a while, and it's kind of nice to get through a few questions that you have, and you have a lot of questions. First one that you didn't ask, but you will, just a temporary glasses change. These are my kind of backups while the other ones are refreshed so that I can see crisply and clearly. Now, the questions that I will be answering came from the subreddit. It's linked down below if you're not familiar with it. I left a post there asking for questions, and the top 10 most upvoted comments are the questions that I will be answering today. Question number 1. Not a specific question, but I would like to hear your opinion and your explanation on all these new coffee processing methods that have taken the world by storm these days, like anaerobic fermentation and carbonic maceration and so on. This is a really common question, and this is a big question. Now, all the answers are going to be time-stamped for the different questions down below, because this one needs a bit of a longer answer, because it's kind of a big topic. And I will say that I will make a much more thorough video on this in the future, when I can actually go and film and touch coffee fermenting, and we can talk about it in a much more practical way. So a couple quick thoughts on this. If you're not familiar with it, you'll have noticed a lot of roasters are offering more experimental processes that have kind of strange names. These coffees taste quite unusual, quite distinct. Now, I think the first thing to sort of realize about this whole thing is that this is roaster driven, right? Coffee roasting companies are looking to source something unique, something different, and they're the ones driving this kind of experimentation phase where they want a small lot of something different, unusual, that is all theirs, and that's a unique thing for them to sell. It's not really being driven by producers necessarily initially, and not really by consumers necessarily either. It's sort of happening in the middle, kind of out. Secondly, initially, I was sort of anti quite a lot of them. Now, there's a sort of mixed group of things going on here. In some cases, there are specific fermentation conditions where you're controlling oxygen and removing it from the fermentation, and that has an impact. In other cases, people are using additives, and it might be specific yeasts, it might be cinnamon in the tank along with the coffee. And it split the industry. Some people were like, experimental processing to a point, yes, but don't adulterate the product with these outside things. Don't put pineapples in, or oranges or cinnamon or anything like that in there. No, that's not pure. That doesn't let you taste the coffee. And I had my mind changed on this. And my sort of thinking now is that anything that makes a producer's coffee more valuable to them, I think is a good thing. So if there's a market for people who want that end product and the producer can charge more and make more money, then broadly I'm behind it. I'm okay with it. The idea of like true taste of place, the idea of terroir, is philosophical and also like a specific set of philosophies, right? You're saying that, you know, I don't want to taste intervention, but when you planted coffee in an entirely new climate, and you chose a specific variety to plant, that is an intervention, and quite a large one. That's not where coffee is native to. So from the very beginning, it's an artifice. And so being picky and choosy along the way is fine. You just have to understand that there's no moral high ground here in all of these things. You can say, I want to taste the land, the soil, the variety, and I want the process to sort of give maximum clarity to those things. And I kind of get that, but you're still really looking at a kind of constructed reality of that coffee in a funny sort of way. I have had my mind changed on this, and I've had a lot of sort of insight on this from Lucia Solis. She works in Colombia with producers on fermentations. Her background is wine industry, and so she has a very science-minded approach to this stuff. She has a great podcast and Patreon, and I will link them down below, and I strongly recommend, if you have any interest in this whatsoever, from a kind of farmer producer level down to a consumer level, go and check it out. It's really, truly excellent. That would be the one thing you should take away from my answer is go and listen to Lucia Solis talk about this. Expert, not the expert. Question 2. What has been your favorite Hames-Joffman unhelpful guide so far? If you're not familiar with Hames-Joffman, a YouTube channel appeared that recuts my videos into unhelpful guides. Now, initially people were sort of a mixed bag of outraged that someone was stealing my content. They're not. And then just amused because it's very silly. I fell into this camp. It was actually someone who contacted me through Reddit. Don't do that because I don't really look at the messages there, but they did. And they said, I'm making this thing. It's very silly. Are you okay with it? And I was like, that is very silly. Go ahead. And it's just kind of ridiculous recuts of my stuff. They're worth checking out if you like a little ridiculousness in your life. I think my favorite one is the recut of the what to do if the coffee is bad in a cafe video. I'll leave a specific link to that, but I'll leave a link to the channel down below as well. They're very silly. I'm entirely okay with them. I have no complaints. I don't think it's stealing. I think that that is a transformative piece of work, and I think it's fun. Question 3. Has your daily driver setup changed? It's the Harrier switch and Sybarist combo that I posted about back in late 2020. Yes, but not in a way that's very satisfying to you, the audience. Late 2020, in the studio, it was often just me or maybe me and Michael, and so we were making up to 300-400 mils of coffee at a time, and that was a great setup for that in the studio. As we're now a team of 3 most of the time, if we're working together, we're just brewing larger batches of coffee. Not much larger, like half a liter, but that's just not where that combo shines. So we in the studio for like just daily drinking coffee, still a lot of V60 actually, honestly. A little carafe, big fan, very easy, nice, that's good. At home, yes, I'm still a steep and release fan. I switch between that and the Clover a little bit. I also drink some other stuff at home too, but I only drink 1 coffee a day at home, max. Most of my coffee consumption happens at work. Number 4, any updates to the decaf project that you mentioned before? Yeah. I sort of have gone backwards and forwards on this about, do I just tell you what I want to do and thus make a big promise that I have to fulfill, even though the logistics behind fulfilling this promise is really hard, or do I just keep teasing this thing out on and on and on? The problem is I gave an answer actually to my Patreon supporters on a live stream I did with them. So, and that has sort of leaked out into the wider world. So the decaf project is still in the planning stages because logistically it's kind of a nightmare. And let me tell you what the decaf project is very quickly. I want to understand the impact of the 3 most common methods of decaffeination. And they would be Swiss water process, supercritical carbon dioxide, and then sugarcane process or ethyl acetate, as it's sort of known. I've never had the same coffee decafed different ways before. Right? I've had all sorts of decafs, but I've never had the same coffee decaf that way. So the decaf project is this. I want to take a very large lot of coffee. It would need to be just under 200 sacks of coffee, probably. So 13, 14 tons, somewhere there, which is a lot. And split it up into 4 lots. 1 lot goes for a decaffeination at each of the 3 different plants. And I would go to the plants and film the decaffeination process and talk through what happens in a kind of how it works factory type vibe for each of those processes. And then we'd keep 1 lot undecaffeinated as your kind of control. Now you want to taste that, and I want to taste that. So the challenge is I don't just want Square Mile to be this hub again. After the world's largest coffee tasting, the logistics of that just were very painful. So what we really want to do is allow, by kind of making it practical and kind of easy, coffee roasters from around the world to buy like at least a bag of each process and the control, and then sell it as a set too. And we'll do a big global tasting event, but the ideal would be that you could buy from a roaster in the country that you live in. So if you're in the US, hopefully a bunch of roasters in the US will get on board and take part. If you're in Japan, maybe someone there, Australia, the UK, France, Norway. You know, I'd love it to be a truly global event that isn't about one coffee roasting company. It's just about us all learning and kind of gaining insight into the world of decaf, because I think decaf can be really good. And I'd also love to taste a bunch of different roasters' take on it as well. That would be super interesting as well. So that's the giant plan. Now, obviously, travel has reopened, and that's now a thing that's practical. But finding the right lot of coffee to start with is tricky, and then getting logistics lined up so that they're all decafed as quickly as possible, and then move to logistical hubs in North America, Europe, and probably Australasia, from which roasters can then purchase from. There's a bit of legwork there. So I am having some support and help that I'll talk about once we get sort of going with the project a bit more, but that's the idea. I want to understand these processes, and I have to taste that, and I have to feel like you have to taste that too. You want to know, right? Like, you want to know what the impact is of these different processes. I don't think one's going to be better than the others. I think they'll be different, and that'll be cool. So that's the plan. That's the decaf project. Question 5. What's your favorite bad piece of coffee equipment? Something that objectively isn't very high quality, or isn't particularly useful, or poorly designed, but using it just gives you joy. That's a difficult question. I don't really have a good answer for you on that. Sorry. No, that's actually harsh. I don't think this is badly designed at all. I think this is perfectly designed. It is its own perfection. As for an actual answer to this question, do you know, I don't know. I think that for me, the process and utility of the thing is as important as the coffee that it produces. And so things that make great coffee but are annoying don't qualify as useful to me. So I don't have a good answer. It just seemed a good, fun excuse to get the bribe out again. We should bribe some more soon, right? Question 6. How are things going with the vintage espresso machine you got in Italy? Looking forward to seeing more of it. Do you know what? Me too. Now, the machine has been fully restored. It has been packaged beautifully and has been shipped in a wonderful wooden crate to London, where it currently resides. It's ready. I'm not ready. And that's the problem. So as I said, I want it to go into a cafe. There's a few moving pieces behind that. We're thinking about kind of September, and it'll be hopefully in a cafe for maybe 4 to 6 weeks, serving something interesting that I'll talk about more in the future. We'll film the full unboxing and the full installation piece and the whole thing. Enrico's actually going to come over from Italy and do some training with the team and that kind of stuff. It's going to be fun. That will appear in a future video. That thing is beautiful. I'm very excited, but more info, probably August, we'll tell you a bit more about what's going on with that particular project and it going live and all that kind of stuff. Question 7. Difficult question. Given the choice, if I hadn't said I'd answer the top 10 questions, I probably wouldn't have answered this one. What is your standpoint on Comandante suing companies like Easypresso and Time More for selling hand grinders? Now, I've got to be careful here. I do not have all the information. I'm aware that there have been some legal exchanges between Comandante and some other companies, manufacturers and resellers. I don't have all the information on it. And so it's really hard for me to tell you something meaningful or insightful or 100% true and wouldn't get me in trouble, which is really important. What I would like more than anything is for Comandante to come out and clarify the situation more thoroughly. If they are protecting their patents in a way that I think is hopefully healthy, then fine. If they're abusing the patent system, that would be very bad and I'd be uncomfortable with that. You know, I feel like anytime a company takes legal action against another company in the same space, it's just going to be really tricky because there's got to be a calculation between the financial upside of that and then the reputational downside of that. And it's hard. And I don't really want to get into it. Comandante, I really would welcome a statement from them at some point to clarify from their point of view what's going on, but they have been frustratingly quiet on the subject. So I'm not going to wade in and say anything at this point. So, good question. Sorry, I can't give you a good answer. Question 8. How good is Lance Hedrick at giving piggyback rides? It's Hedrick, by the way, not Hendrik. A lot of you misspell his name. And as someone who you know, he gets an extra N, I often don't get my extra N. I have a deep sympathy for the misspelling of surnames. Anyway, would you recommend him as a mean of transport? Yes, highly. I had a great time, I've got to tell you. If you don't know what's going on here, Lance and I were both in Milan at the World of Coffee show. He said, when I see you, I'm giving you a piggyback ride. And I was like, sure, okay, because those are great. I remember being a child and, you know, that it's been a long time since anyone really kind of, you know, ran around with me on their back. So I had a piggyback ride. This video, you can watch it right now, of me having a great time being run around. The only downside of Lance is that if you make him laugh, he stops and drops you. So just very serious piggyback rides only is all I'm saying. Question 9. Any updates on the ultimate coffee travel setup? And if not ultimate yet, what is your coffee travel setup these days? Firstly, I'm barely traveling again. You know, like I'm still not really going anywhere. And if I am, it's just been to places where I would want to go out and have coffee in the place that I'm going to. Now, we will go down the rabbit hole of the ultimate coffee travel setup. We will do that because it's just so highly demanded. At the same time, I haven't seen anything to really truly displace the classic combo of AeroPress and hand grinder for many people who are kind of solo coffee obsessives. If you're traveling, you know, making coffee for more than one, it's a different thing. It's a different thing. And I don't have a good answer for you yet. So yeah, annoyingly, I broadly will just go and drink coffee wherever I am, even if it's bad, because I just find it interesting. You know, I want to see, you know, even in remote places where there's like one place in town that serves coffee, if it's terrible, I still want to go and see who drinks coffee there, what they do, what the vibe is. I just like cafe culture. So I want to go to those too, even if I'm punished for my curiosity sometimes, often. But hey, as I've said previously, you've got to drink the bad stuff sometimes. It's really important because it makes the good stuff gooder. That's a word. Question 10. Do you still use the Ember mug daily? No, I do not. Now, That's not to say I don't think the Ember mug is not ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I'm not saying it's not good. It's great. It's great and ridiculous. And I still struggle with how absurd it is. It's wonderful. I just don't really need it that much because, again, often with a small team here, we're drinking a little bit often, right? And we want to drink a bunch of different stuff through the day. We might be experimenting, testing new equipment out, all of that kind of stuff. It doesn't lead to large mug of coffee and me sat at a laptop working. It's just too fragmented here, too much going on for that to be the right thing. I still think it's good though. I still think the Ember mug is a good mug. And I think they have another one coming out soon, so I'm kind of curious to see what that is. But I don't know anything about it beyond the thing there's something new coming. That's the Ember mug. It's still good. It's still very silly. It's still ridiculously expensive. I still need to fully express my immense duality of experience with that thing of like, this is a very stupid thing. I like it quite a lot. It's ridiculous, it's expensive, but it brings me joy. I don't know. That's the Ember mug. That's the tension in the middle of it that makes it interesting. That's enough. There's enough questions for today. That's the Q&A. That's it. Should we do these more often, or are they kind of nice, infrequent little updates? You tell me. You let me know down in the comments below. And if you feel like there's a question that I really should have answered, ask it down below, and maybe it'll make its way into the next Q&A, whenever that is. Anyway, I'll say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.